Hello, this is Kelly from ThemeZoom. After our last video about how to use the custom column feature of our latest product, the Last Keyword Tool, we received a lot of requests for a similar one about how to use the filter feature. Well, to keep things interesting, I'm going to skip past very basic things that there are already examples for, like filtering on the number of competing pages or the clicks per day, that sort of thing. And instead I'm going to concentrate on one of the most overlooked pieces of raw data when doing keyword research, and that is the keyword itself. There's a lot of information that's latent in the keyword itself depending on your language, and in this case mine is English. One of the things we can do to analyze this is think about how a phrase is constructed. If you have things that are related to a concept but aren't really the concept themselves, usually the concept will occur at the beginning of the phrase. And as an example, if our concept is coffee, related concepts would be coffee roasting, coffee flavors, coffee wholesalers, coffee shops, coffee distributors. Coffee appears at the beginning of all those things. And then if there are types of the concept, in this case types of coffee, coffee will appear at the end of the phrase. So we might have, Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, or decaf coffee, or Peruvian coffee, that sort of thing. So what we can do is we can kind of take this general list and split it up into one of those two things. So first I'm going to look at concepts related to coffee by applying a filter. And all we do here is we put coffee at the beginning of our match. And all this says is match anything that starts with coffee, has a space, and then ends with anything else. So we apply this filter and let's look at what happens. You can see we have now coffee beans, coffee espresso, coffee roasting, flavors, cups, drinks, shops, machines, gifts, roasters, bag, etc. The list goes on. But now you can look at, having done this, you can sort of split out by searches, and you can say, okay, what are people actually looking for when they're looking for things related to coffee, not just coffee itself? And we can see that most often they're actually looking for coffee makers, followed by coffee cups, then coffee shops, grinders, that sort of thing. Well, this is also pretty actionable. I mean, if you look at this, you can see that, coffee makers is pretty competitive. 40,000 searches, it's good, but 31 million pages, that's tough to rank for. Now, if we slide down here to coffee grinder, 12,000 searches is still a lot of searches, but 1 million pages is a whole lot easier to rank for. Anyway, those are things related to coffee. So let's go back up and look at actual kinds of coffee, which is sort of a totally different focused segment of what it is that we're looking for here. And all we're going to do here is move this around. We're going to start with anything, and then we're going to end it with coffee. Let's see. We're still sorted by searches here. So we see Starbucks, espresso, black, Keurig, Caribou, etc., etc. And this is actually, again, a really, really interesting way of looking at the data, because when you look at the kinds of coffee, you can kind of see here that, while Starbucks gets a lot of searches, it has a lot of competing pages. But, in terms of maybe if you wanted to hook up some sort of affiliate thing, Caribou Coffee gets, 1/3 of the searches, or a little more actually, and has 1/10 of the competing pages. It's a lot easier to rank for. So that's really, that tells you that Starbucks has a lot more of an online presence, but there's a lot more people related that are interested in Caribou Coffee. Let's see, we have 72 kinds of coffee. Let's see what we have. Now we get down to the flavors here: hazelnut, Arabica, Flavia, Sumatra, Hawaiian. Let's actually flip over here to a project that's just about coffee or flavored coffee. And it has, similar number of keywords. And this is going to have some of the same things, coffee beans, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do here is apply the same filter, kinds of coffee. And we'll see what we get. And now we have 104 as opposed to 72 kinds of coffee. So this lets us more, really dial in exactly what we're looking at when we're looking at varieties of coffee, retailers of coffee, brands of coffee, that sort of thing. And that's just, it's one more way of actually looking at the raw data, but sort of in a non-conventional way. And that's one of the real powers of the filter feature. In fact, we can go up here and we can say, all the flavors down here usually have less than, 1 million competing pages.
So if we really just are looking at actual flavors of coffee as opposed to general types of coffee, we can say Google competing pages is less than, we'll call it less than 1 million. And this will vary by market, in language, of course. But anyway, now we see we have Kona, Folgers, Decaf, Hazelnut. I mean, now you're actually looking at, flavors of coffee, which is more of a niche product. And if you really wanted some actionable information here, you might say, well, look, there's a whole lot of people searching for Folgers, but really there's not that many pages about it. That sounds like an Amazon hookup right there. Anyway, this is just one more example of how you can use the filter feature to do, really it's market analysis, not just keyword analysis. And hopefully that helps get you thinking about new ways of looking at the information. Thanks.